And now on the Two Murrays, Strata Matters with Stephen Brell for the Strata Community Association, New South Wales, the peak body representing the strata industry.
Yeah, Stephen is back with us. 131873 is the telephone number, and if you'd like to have a chat to him, suggestion is that you call now, all right, because it gets very busy. If you live in a strata environment, you're on the body corporate, I think they call it something else now, but you're
Owners
involved.
Corporation.
That's it, the Owners Corporation. If you're involved in that and you've got some questions, call up and have a chat to Stephen. He'll be able to sort you out. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks.
Good, mate.
Great to see you once again, because I was looking forward to talking to you this weekend, because some significant laws introduced to the New South Wales Parliament in the week just gone.
There was. I'm convinced that our Fair Trading Minister, Analog Shantharavong, was listening last week, because two of the laws that they're proposing were topics that we spoke about last week.
Indeed. I know they do listen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If they can't listen, they may be out, kissing babies and stuff. They get
That's
the
right.
podcast sent.
Exactly
And as they're
right.
shoveling sustain into their chops late at night, they listen to the Two Muzzies.
Exactly right.
What?
Right. Okay.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Afternoon Premier. So,
Yeah.
let's look at the law that appeals to me the most.
Yes.
Pets.
Pets.
Take us through what's happened.
Well, the government's on a push to make strata schemes more pet-friendly. And this comes on the back of a fairly famous strata case that occurred back in 2020, which is
the
known
Horizon?
as the Horizon case. Yeah, exactly right. Which the appeals court in New South Wales overturned a pet ban in a building, which allowed animals. So since then, the government's very much had a mandate to make strata schemes more pet-friendly. So what they did this week, they have announced that they will ban owners' corporations from charging administrative fees for owners or residents that want to keep pets in their scheme.
I'm sorry. People are getting charged an admin fee for keeping a budgie.
Yeah, exactly right.
That Shetland pony you want to keep inside, that would much larger fee.
Oh, it used to be a draft horse, and I've reduced it. Are you serious?
Yeah, this was a way that some owners, and I've got to stress, this practice was fairly rare out there in strata land, but what some owners corporations did in order to try and circumvent that law, they were putting in administrative fees and charging bonds and charging people fees for, requesting animals and that sort of thing. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So they've overturned that.
There's got to be any, limits on the pets one can have. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you do have in your apartment. I know you've got that fleet of Shetland ponies down the back end of your vast property, but I can't have a Shetland pony in my place, can I?
A
No.
fleet.
Yeah, there's actually no limit on how many pets you can have, but there are. But your pets can't make a nuisance. So again, and people need to be pragmatic when they are keeping animals in strata schemes. There are obviously some animals that are quite well adjusted to strata living.
Children,
but there are others-
dogs.
Yep, exactly right.
So at what point do people that own pets probably cross the line? And I'm talking about a one-bedroom unit, person works, they've gone 12 hours a day.
Bark, bark, bark.
No, not even that. There's no balcony, and they've I don't know, they've got a
The
German
dog's
Shepherd.
inside,
They've got an Alsatian inside for 12 hours.
Yeah, that's right. So any animal that's considered a nuisance type animal, or an animal that is ferocious, or may cause an issue for people.
Yep.
Those type of animals that are not, let's say, strata friendly, or they're banned within the schemes. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Righto.
Well, that's a significant step in the right direction to remove those admin fees. So that concerns pets.
That
What are the other
concerns
law
pets.
changes?
The other big ones was, and again, these are the things that we spoke about last week. There is now a limit. So this was a law that previously applied only to large owners corporations in New South Wales, which was more than 100 lots, which was every scheme now must obtain 2 quotes for any works that are over $30,000.
Right.
2 quotes.
Yeah,
Okay.
a minimum of 2 quotes.
See,
Okay.
I know inflation's running, high, and I know a young electrician who charges out about $180 an hour, but that's just to get out of the vehicle.
Is that cash?
I think a lot of them are cashies. So $30,000, notwithstanding the high rate of tradespeople these days, it's still a significant chunk of money, which would indicate to me lower than $30,000, you should still be getting quotes.
You should still be getting quotes, yeah. I mean, look, most strata committees are fairly studious in this sort of area, where they will go out and get a number of different quotes.
It is our money.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, again, and the committee need to be spending it wisely, as do strata managers.
So you can see some people in owners corporations getting around that. We've got to repaint the unit block. We've got one quote for outside and we've got one quote for inside, and they both come under $30K. So we'll do this one first, and then we'll do the second one later.
Yeah, that's right. People
They'll
can
find
get
a way.
People do get clever with the way they prepare their scopes and their quotes.
Yeah, okay. Stephen Brell is with us from the Strata Community Association. If you want to have a chat to Stephen, 131873. If you live in a unit complex, I suppose you're in that strata environment, or you may sit on the committee, or you may be involved in the monthly meetings, and there's a few things that are concerning you. Call up, have a chat to Stephen. He'll be able to sort you out. All right, he's here to take your calls on 131873.
And the third law, Stephen, you mentioned.
The third law, yeah. So this was something also that we discussed last week, which was an owner who is concerned about the management of their scheme. So they think that either the Owners Corporation or Strata Committee aren't doing things correctly.
Yep.
New South Wales Fair Trading will now have the power to apply to NCAT, which is the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal, for a compulsory appointment. So that means that the power is taken out of the hands of the owners and placed into the hands of a strata manager or an administrator.
In place of business and administration.
Exactly right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
131873. And look, I'm sure strata management is the same as any other area of a commercial enterprise. You get really good ones, you get some duds.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of good apples, a lot of bad apples, and that's what our association is here for.
So what can an owners corporation do if you're really upset with the quality of the management? Do you have to give them a period of notice, or
You
what
do,
happens?
yeah. So a strata manager can only be appointed or dismissed via a general meeting of the owners corporation, and there is usually, well, not usually, there has to be a contract that is associated with that. So if you are concerned about the performance of your manager, you need to consult your committee, consult the contract, have a look at the terms and conditions. My advice to owners always is, if you do have a concern with the manager, to reach out to them first and express what your concerns are, and then hopefully you can work through it.
All right, mate. Gavin at Penrith. We've got a couple of these, mate. You might want to read the other one. Gavin said, we received a letter from the building manager this week threatening further action if people continue to charge their electric cars in our underground car park. At the moment, it only affects about 4 out of 80 spaces, but in the years to come, we're going to be in strife.
Sure are. That's exactly right. Very, very good. That's interesting.
What's happening in that world in regards to electric cars and unit blocks that are old, that weren't that haven't been retrofitted?
It's really coincidental you mentioned that, because I actually presented this week at the e-mobility conference in Sydney here, all about EV charging, and they were interested in what's happening in the world of strata with EV cars. Something which our national association, they commissioned some research on this, and they've found exactly what you mentioned, that trying to retrofit strata buildings for EV charging is extraordinarily difficult. It can be done, and again, we are advocates of it. However, there are certain things that owners corporations have to take into consideration, particularly upgrading their infrastructure. What the text message there says, how owners or residents are going to be charged for using the owners corporation's electricity to charge their cars.
Yep.
Will they be putting in credit card payment systems or other payment systems so they can recoup that money? What will happen? Where will actually put the charges? Will the charges go in to the common area parking areas, and if they do, that means they lose an amenity of a visitor parking space, and you'll need to get council approval for that. So there's lots of considerations there for owners in strata schemes who are looking at retrofitting their buildings.
Okay, you got one more?
Yeah, I have got one more. 131873 is our telephone number as well. Stephen Brell, our special guest. You can give Stephen a call and ask any question you like. Here's a very interesting one too from Annette. Can the Secretary of the Strata Corporation ban questions from an AGM? This would be to deter very aggressive owners who are trying to take over. Do questions have to be submitted prior to a meeting?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It is a good question. I mean, look, this all comes down to good corporate governance and good meeting governance. So the rules of conducting a strata meeting, it's actually the chairperson who controls the strata meeting, not the secretary, and they can pretty much govern that meeting and take questions from the floor in whatever manner that which they, deem necessary. So there are rules on how you conduct a strata meeting.
Yep.
Okay, but there's no rules in place to say that questions must be submitted either before or after. I always encourage owners corporations to have an open dialogue and to try and keep things civil and to the point.
Yep.
I have seen some strata meetings deteriorate, quite rapidly when things don't go good. But again, good communication is important for everyone when you're living in a strata block.
Very much. Okay, Stephen Brell is with us. The telephone number, if you'd like to have a chat to him, from the Strata Community Association, 131873. We're going to take a break for sport, and then we're going to come back and take your calls, all right? So stay with us. It's the two Murrays.
This is Strata Matters for the Strata Community Association New South Wales, the peak body representing the strata industry.
Yes, indeed it is. 2GB's Stephen Brell with us. Look, 131873 is our telephone number. You may have a query for Stephen. He'll be able to help you. Let's go firstly to Manly in Sydney because Melanie is online. Melanie, good afternoon.
Hello, is that Stephen?
Yes, indeed it is, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Melanie and I live in a small strata unit block, and the person in the unit next door vapes and sometimes smokes drugs, and it's quite affecting me. So I've spoken to the owner of the, to the chair of the owners corporation, and not getting any help there. What can I do?
Yeah, Mary, this is becoming an increasing problem, and there was a case earlier this year where a lot owner was successful in taking their neighbour to NCAT to seek an order that they stop.
Right.
They stop smoking in that particular case. Now, this is done under what's called the law of nuisance. And you, as a lot owner or a resident in a strata building, you can take that action yourself. You don't need to go through your owners corporation or your strata committee.
Okay. The law of nuisance, can I apply that to him?
You can.
Nice.
Great.
Yep. Does that mean I can light up?
Good luck in the studio. Melanie, I hope that helps because, look, it's particular. Look, it is. If you don't smoke,
You do.
the guy next door is doing Persian rugs
I
on
get
top
it.
of the vaping.
I don't know if it's Persian rug. Yeah, I mean, look, I smoke and I get it. You know, it does annoy people, right? So you just got to be a little bit courteous. And if you're out on the balcony, it does waft up into other people's units. There's no doubt about it.
131873 is our telephone number. Jilly is online. Hello, Jilly.
Hello. We're in a dog-friendly unit block, but I was always under the impression when the dogs are going downstairs or in the driveway, we've nearly had instances where there's been people falling over the dog. I thought they had to be on a lead. Can you clarify that for me, please?
Yeah, the pet bylaws in New South Wales are evolving all the time. So what the law now, so if you've got an older bylaw, it will definitely say that you need to control your animal, have it on a lead or and contained.
Okay.
Now what the new bylaws are saying is that you must control your animal so it does not cause a nuisance for another resident or another pet in the building.
There you go. Pretty simple stuff. All right, Julie. Thank
And
you.
the other problem that sometimes occurs when they don't clean up, when the owners of the dogs do not clean up after the dog. Now that's just common courtesy.
No, absolutely.
Do the right thing, you idiots.
No, I know. I get that. I get that.
Please.
131873. Mark's on the line from Woodbine. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, g'day guys, how you going?
Tip
Good,
top.
mate.
Thank you. What's your query, mate?
Mate, it's not a strata question, it's more of a thought bubble I've had for a little while.
Yep.
Electric cars have been known to catch on fire. What happens if one of them catches on fire in the underground car park of a multi-storey apartment block?
Yeah, it's a great question, Mark. So just to give a little bit of background on this, down in Victoria, the Victorian Fire Brigade have come out and said that they cannot attend a basement fire for an EV car simply because once a lithium battery ignites, it must be immersed in water in order to be put out. And obviously they cannot get their firefighting equipment down there to put the fire out. So this is one of the other problems with owners corporations trying to retrofit EV chargers into their buildings. They will need to look at also fire suppression systems that can put EV fires out.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, so it's now the one saving grace with that, and again I know this because I presented on this earlier this week, the occasion of an EV fire is 40 times less than a combustion engine.
Say that again. Say that again.
So the cases of an EV fire
Yep.
are 40 times less likely to occur
Yep.
than a combustion engine.
Okay. Righto. So there's a
they
bit of
do
peace
occur.
of mind.
Yeah, there's a little bit of peace of mind. So they're less prevalent than what combustion engines are.
Yep.
However, they still do ignite.
Okay. Righto.
That's a good thought bubble, Mark. I think a lot of people do. And here's from David, there's a text message here. Think about this. Australia's tallest building, Stephen, Melbourne, nearly 300 metres tall. It contains more than 1,100 apartments. How on earth are they going to retrofit that building for EVs? How many e-scooters on charging every... And we saw just in Sydney only a week or so ago, an e-scooter caught fire. I mean, it's 1,100 units, half of them with EVs. How the hell are they going to charge them?
Yeah, so this is where owners
Eventually.
Yeah, no, that's right. And this is where owners corporations do need to be clever when they are retrofitting their buildings. Some good news for the future strata owners is that from October this year, the Building Code of Australia has been changed, which requires all new residential apartment buildings to be fitted with EV charging and appropriate fire suppression systems.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's not going to be a cheap exercise.
No,
at
it's
all.
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
131873 is the telephone number. Stephen Brell is with us. If you'd like to have a chat to him this afternoon on the Two Murrays. Russell has called through on line 5. G'day, Russell.
G'day, mate. Thanks for taking the call, mate.
Pleasure.
In a block of units of 10, one of the owners who's been there since inception is a hoarder, and his place is full of junk.
No good stuff?
He's got no water, no power. He doesn't pay the bills, and we can't get the place fumigated, of course. And he's got a car down the driveway full of junk, and he's 10 grand behind in his strata fees, which will get sorted out by the magistrate. But what do we do about this pest? Council don't want to know about it.
Yeah, if it's inside his apartment, there's not a lot you can do because inside his apartment is pretty much his domain, as long as he's not affecting the other areas of the common property.
What about pests? What about
Yeah,
rodents and whatnot?
If you're concerned from a health point of view, if you're concerned from a fire safety point of view, then this is where it would be escalated to council, and they may come down and issue an order that he actually clean out the apartment. Right. If he's got items on the common property, there's abandoned goods laws. Try and get that out. That can be implemented to make sure that he tidies all that up.
And there's nothing any good you can take and sell. Buy, swap and sell with the two muzzies. You'll be able to get some money.
Can I ask you?
Yep.
Don't know why I even thought this. Strata rules and regulations in unit blocks, do they apply to people that are in Housing Commission?
No, they would have their own set of rules. So
Are they different, are they?
They are different, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do they have a body corporate?
Not a body corporate, so they'd be governed by the housing association that they're in.
Right.
They would have their own rules and regulations on how they live. So they would things like noise, things like putting things on the common property, things like keeping pets.
Probably all different.
Yeah, probably all different.
Okay,
Yeah.
righto.
Yep.
Interesting.
131873. You're staggeringly popular.
Thanks. Oh, you
No,
know,
Stephen.
Stephen, sorry.
Oh, God.
Gee.
What was that law I can apply against him?
The law of nuisance.
Law
Yes.
of nuisance. Right. Let's go to Ryan. This is a very interesting question. Hi, Ryan. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I recently bought an apartment with a Whitlock wind-in, wind-out window, but the window won't fully close as it's rusted. And I spoke to the building manager and they said it was my responsibility.
Outside window or inside window?
Our outside window, it's a kitchen window.
What? Sorry? An outside window or an inside? Have you got an inside window in your laundry, like in your lounge room?
You can have outside and inside windows in an apartment setting. Of course you can.
Really?
Stephen, come on. Can you help me
Come
out
on,
here?
quick, help me, Stephen. Help me.
I haven't heard. Yeah, look, some people do crazy things and do put windows on the inside.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Ryan, quick question. Do you know the age of your building?
It was built in 2007.
Okay, it's going to be on common property, and it's going to be the owner's corporation's responsibility.
Hey.
So, yeah.
Not yours.
Yeah.
Right.
So the reason why I pose that question is that there are different rules that apply to schemes that were built prior to 1974. And after 74. So that's an important delineation there. But 2007, most definitely common property.
Righto. Okay, there you go.
Robert-
What about on a balcony?
Same deal. It's on the boundary of the lot, so that'll be the owner's corporation responsibility.
Okay, righto.
Rob, we're not going to go to your question. That's more of a question, I think, for the vet rather than the body corporate. Bit of jam tarting from the little canine companion.
Thank you very much.
We're talking here. This is very interesting. What should an owner occupier of a unit or apartment do about the compulsory annual fire safety inspection if they're going to be away, they've got no one there to be on that person's behalf? And if they're going to be away for so long, they miss the notification in the mail because you have to have your building inspected every year.
Yes, this is a difficult one. So I encourage people, again, if you can, when your annual fire safety inspection is on, to ensure that access to your property is availed. Some fire contractors are happy to sign off on a building as long as they get a guarantee that they can come back and look at the apartment at some point in the future. Right. There may be additional fees that apply for that because obviously they want to knock over the inspection in one hit rather than coming back and forth. Yep. However, allowances and accommodations can be made.
Can I just ask you, and we did chat about this last weekend, and I had a couple of friends mention it to me and wanted to know if you could just say it again. if you're about to move into a complex, it's under Strata, and you're about to buy a place,
Yep.
Where do you go and how do you find out if there is enough money sitting in that fund
Sure.
to cover the sinking fund? You're not going to get smacked 12 months. Where do you go? What do you do?
Yep. So what you would do there is your conveyancer who's working on your behalf in the purchase.
Yes.
They will know who the Strata managing agent is or who the Strata committee is.
Yes.
So they can then arrange a Strata inspection for you.
Right.
Okay, it's a few $100s, but it's money well spent.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's money well spent to find out, get an inspection of the records, see what the financial health of the building's like, see what the building itself is like, see what the owners are like, because you get a lot of information out of a Strata search.
Okay. Right. Okay.
That's a good question because we did have the case of.
Well, did that happen to you when you moved into your place?
No, it's very good management. We got good internal management, excellent Strata.
But did you know, because you're in Strata now,
Yeah.
did you know what?
No, not at all.
So you didn't know if the fund had money in it or not, or whether or not there needed to be works done in 6 months or 12 months?
That was our first rodeo in terms of Strata. And luckily, we landed pretty well.
Yeah.
But there's a woman that I do know, and she has to sell. She had to sell. This has already happened because she didn't have enough money to meet the levy that was going to be applied to do some capital works.
Yeah.
And she had to sell the place she loved in the neighbourhood that she really loved with friends around. She couldn't afford to stay there.
But imagine trying to sell it
Knowing
with that over your head.
That's right.
And you've got to then disclose that to the new buyers, don't you?
You do, yeah.
By the way, you're going to buy this place, but you're also going to be up for $30K.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
the joint's falling apart.
And that's why I advocate very strongly for owners corporations to make sure they're budgeting properly.
Yeah.
If they're budgeting properly ongoing, then they're not going to be hit with these, special levies.
But you did say last week that the owners corporation, there are places where they can go and borrow money.
There
is, that right?
yeah. So an owners corporation can obtain a loan if
Yes.
need be, and there's a new hybrid product that's just hit the market, which can be given to either the owners corporation and individual owners as well.
Okay,
So,
right.
yep.
All right.
131873. Let's go to line 1 because Peter is on line 1 from Cronulla. G'day, Pete.
G'day, how are you guys?
Pretty well,
Great
sir. What's
show.
Thank you very much. What's your query for Stephen?
Yeah, look, I'd like to know where is in law that managing agents can get a commission on the insurance that the body corporates pay for their building.
Yeah, this is a common commercial practice that a lot of strata managers do. And generally speaking, when you sign up your building with a strata manager, they will disclose to you how they are remunerated by an insurer.
Okay.
Now, what most managers do, they
It's
will
like a
then,
mortgage broker.
That's right. They will then offset their strata fees, the fees that they're charging for the insurance work they do. So my advice there to owners corporations is make sure you understand the contract terms that you're getting into with your strata manager and whether they take an insurance commission or not.
Yeah.
The other thing which I need to, which strata managers need to do is that they need to disclose their commission to the owners every year at the annual general meeting.
Okay. 131873. That's our telephone number if you want to have a chat to Stephen.
San Susie bound. Kerry on the line. Good afternoon, Kerry.
Hi, guys.
How can we help?
I have a quick question about bylaws for solar panels. I live in a villa complex. There's only 3, and it's not just for me, for everybody. Is there an actual, rather than pay a lot of money to get a solicitor to draw up a bylaw for panels, because it's something that was never around in the early days, is there something that is available through you guys?
Yeah,
that we
there
can
is.
just use?
Yeah, so when it comes to sustainability infrastructure, the laws were changed again earlier this year, which allow owners to put solar panels and other sustainability initiatives into their building without the need of passing a bylaw, but only with a 50% threshold. So you can put that in. So again, I would recommend a bylaw, however, because in the future there may be disputes over who put the panels in, who's responsible for damage when they're installed, who's responsible for replacing them in the future, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. 131873. It's a minefield, isn't it?
No kidding.
You could sit here and take calls for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that and I can go home?
No.
Oh, sorry.
We're going to go to Burwood now because Janet is with us. Very good afternoon to you, Janet.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Great pleasure.
My grandson, my daughter and my grandson live in a rented apartment. He actually slipped in the bath and his knee went through the side of the bath and cracked it. So who would be responsible for replacing that bath?
Okay, in that particular circumstance, because it's an accident, that would actually be covered by the Owners Corporation insurance.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
For a bath?
Yeah, for a bath.
On the inside of somebody's unit?
Yeah, that's right. I could do a whole show on how strata insurance works. And
let's do that next
covered
week.
and what's not covered.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, so because it's considered part of the building and the resultant damage has occurred because of an accident, it's covered by strata.
So if you live in a strata environment, say it's one of these, like the over 55 complexes where they're independent homes, right? I'm assuming that the Stratas Corporation insurance covers the homes or the external. They do.
They do. Yeah.
So as you as an owner of those homes, do you need building insurance?
You don't need building insurance. What you do need is contents for your internals.
So how many people have got independent building insurance on top of what the strata are also paying?
It is stunning. So I run seminars.
Holy crackers.
Yeah, I run seminars for property managers who are managing strata blocks, and the amount of them that tell me that they've got they've got building insurance for the strata lot on behalf of their landlord is stunning.
So the insurance companies are going, yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is why it's really important to know and understand when you're living and residing in a strata block. You need to know what your rights are, and you need to know what the rules are.
You've got building insurance?
Of course.
You've got building insurance?
Yep.
But what Stephen just said is you don't need it.
Well, I'm sure we do have it because
but you as an independent, you and Annie, have you got building insurance on your particular place? Because you don't need it.
I'm not sure I know. I know we have as a body corporate.
Man, that's a show in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. All right, where we going, Muzz?
Well, Clay just takes me to task. I've never seen, he's a builder of more than 40 years. I've never seen an inside window in a house or unit. What about the window on a door? Inside.
That's a pane of glass.
Oh, is that different?
We can't. No, not a window on the... I know what you were talking about.
Oh, you think like...
I was having a bit of a crack at you.
Inside porthole on a ship.
Yeah, that'll be the drain hole.
Fair enough, Clay. Yeah, I'll pay that. But from Tommy, our strata checks that units have window locks so the windows can barely open. Is that really necessary?
Yeah, that's a law that came in 2015. So back in 2014, there was a number of toddlers that fell out of apartment windows, and the government brought in a law saying any apartment where the fall out of a window is more than 2 metres, it must have a locking device fitted so that it cannot be opened more than 12.5 centimetres. So again, it's an unlockable device, so you can take it off and open your window when it's hot.
Yeah.
But when you've got toddlers around, the recommendation is you lock your window up so they can't fall out.
That's how Eric Clapton's son died in New York.
Really?
Little guy fell out of a window way up high.
Okay. 131873 is the number 131873. Where are we going to go? We've got a stack of people to talk to. We're not going to get through them all. Let's try line 3. John's on the line from
Queensland.
G'day,
Hello,
John.
Afternoon, sir. What's your query?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My query is strata titled units, common property. We have a number of plants which are supposed to be maintained as a hedge, but the caretaker has allowed them to grow to such an extent they're now trees, and he refuses to maintain the trees. Where do we go?
I'd be getting together with your strata committee up there and instructing him to, prune them back. To make
You
sure
can always
that
go
they're
to
hedges.
Bunnings and get yourself a chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Or some Roundup.
So it is a matter for the broader strata community to make a decision on this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you'd have a chat with your committee saying, look, express what your concerns are about the hedges become overgrown, and this sort of thing happens. A pathway or an egress, to a building, you want it to be clear. So yeah.
Okay, listen, we're going to run out of time. We're not going to take all these calls, unfortunately, which is a real bugger. If anybody wants to get hold of you or your organisation, Strata Community Association, what's the best way they should do that?
Sure, the best way. We're open tomorrow from 9 a.m. 9492.
Yep.
8200.
Okay, 9492 8200, and you're happy to help anybody out or answer any questions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, flick all your questions through, and happy to help. That's
Good
what
on
we're
you.
here for.
Great to see you.
You too.
Thanks for coming in again, Steve. Lovely to see you. This is the Two Muzzies with a staggeringly popular segment on living in strata.